Hello and welcome to this live session with Mohak, that is me. And like every live session, you can watch from going back into my YouTube channel. You can check out all the YouTube videos, and definitely you can learn a lot. Those people who are seeing this on YouTube, join the link below to follow me on Telegram, and from there you'll be able to know more things. I also teach a full 15 session full-fledged course. So those people who are interested can send their numbers and my team will contact you for the January batch. For now, let's begin with markets. And I'm so excited. Let's start because we get ideas. Ideas are the places to make money are the ideas. Okay, the market is what you have the passion for. It is not about having a passion for want to do webinar right now, etc. Thank you, Mr. Yash. I got your number. My team will contact you. Yeah, it's not about making money right now, right fast. It's about the relishing the process of the pinpointing the analysis, the real parts which come together, and how beautifully things shape up and the moves are ready to budge. And when the market is ready to budge, it's where you will make money. First of all, I'll tell you this, that most people make this very common mistake. The common mistake is, you know what? The common mistake is that uh, I will come and I will make money today itself. I'll make money right now itself. I'll take a trade and the stock needs to go up or down in a big way, zoom, okay, in a very swift manner. The point is that you have to keep your expectations only as moderate as to the probabilities of the market. Any kind of analysis in the world is probability based. It is not about certainties, it is about probability. So when you are doing analysis, make sure you have a good grip on what are the evidences that are coming together, because when evidences come together in one direction, the probability just kind of booms in that direction, right? So we're going to check out Nifty, Bank Nifty, and then specific stocks. Okay, it's been some time. I've had this live session the second time in this week. Okay, after the elections and the state election results, etc., those kind of news which were flowing in, a lot of people primarily ask me, so what to do when we have news? Do we stay away, etc.? And I showed last time how I have taken trades, or at least I have for that matter discussed in number of webinars recently, that it is not about news. Yes, news makes you come to a place where it can act as a catalyst to a new kind of move, but ultimately your entry and exit needs to be due to price mechanism, because news cannot tell you how far, how fast, and what the targets can be and what the entries can be, right? So over here, over in Nifty, we saw patches of accumulation and we saw technical signals coming about. So the trend had started and espoused from patches of accumulation. Now, when trend has started and espoused, and every day on closing basis, you're seeing a three green candle. Okay, so that really shows us something. That really shows that in the process of turning around from a support zone, which is a previous support zone, the market has really shown good momentum. A lot of people who are carrying their short positions, a lot of people were carrying their long positions, and the market has strongly turned around, right? Now, the equation becomes a little tricky because recently we have seen a deep fall. So when we have seen a deep fall and the market is coming back up, obviously the move can either be a pullback or it can be a trending move. But to my sense, if there's a trending move, okay, it should be subdivided, because that is how the volatility and time correction will be accumulated, right? So we saw the subdivided moves on Nifty, and recently I've been speaking to even my students, and in sessions we'll do a lot of learning which helps us during the week also, right, about certain interaction points which seem very viable. Okay, so 1 second, let me take up a different pen color for this. Thank you. Yeah, so we saw the interaction points where the buyers and sellers have interacted a lot, broken out from. And now the beauty is, once this breakout has happened, it has not happened and made a one-sided movement, because we need to absorb time correction. And that is what it did, is that this resistance zone, because of the principle of polarity, turned around into a support zone. So later the market has come here and it has taken support. We saw that the market has swiftly gone above these areas and is in an uptrend. Right now, same thing if we take up in Bank Nifty, and I was talking about I was talking about these areas recently with my students also, and of course, it has broken out successfully day before yesterday. And these breakouts were wonderful areas to get a swift, nice trade. Now, if we look at any move which is a little substantial, a little big, okay, those moves will come when you are in conjunction with multiple time frames, not when you're conjunction with just one time frame. So with one time frame, we will look for patterns, we look for indicators, we look for our technical signals. But if we choose to do things on multiple time frames, it enhances our way of doing things. Like for example, I'm taking up the weekly, the daily chart of Bank Nifty. Now, according to the daily chart, the market did make a subdivided move up and it had come around these resistance zone to take a small resistance. Now, when the market is pulling back up, it has come and it has rested over here a little bit. And there are two breakouts which are happening. One is of these highs, which is happening, okay, and the other which is happening is of the high which is coming from the hourly charts. So that is the recent highs. That is the recent highs. So in two time frames when something is happening, obviously it is a big, much more mega move, so to speak. Now, in case of Nifty, we see the same thing happening at 10,900. One of the important things which I need you to all note is that all the options open interest data, which I try to show from time to time in live sessions, how to read those open interest data, etc. Okay, I'm just opening a web browser and showing you open interest data. There's going to be something very interesting for you to see, right? So let's just wait. Yeah, the open interest data is over here. What I want you to notice is that Nifty futures till yesterday was at somewhere around taking a high of 11,000. And I want you to notice that even after a breakout, the market after 11,000 of Nifty futures was finding it a lot of difficulty to go higher. You see how the standing open interest over here on 11,000 strike price options, how it is very high in comparison with the puts. Okay. Now, when it is very high in comparison with the puts, the markets or the, if you can say, the bigger hands, okay, it's a contrarian approach over here. The bigger hands need to collect a lot of short positions. That means the weak hands will take the short positions. The bigger hands will continue to accumulate the long position before the next move up or before the market can surpass these areas. Because a lot of sellers are standing at 11,000. So it is a difficult area on Nifty futures to go above it. Okay. Now, yesterday, if you were looking at this data, you would have seen that, okay, fine, there has been a lot of buyers on puts and there have been a lot of open interest which is increased on puts. So this is has been positive yesterday, this has been positive today. So that is a good plus sign. This has been positive yesterday. Sorry, this has been a little negative yesterday and a little positive today. Okay, so comparatively, there is still more weaker hands who want to go short or expect the markets to go short. And because it's a contrarian indicator, it indicates and suggests us that if people are thinking on the side on the lines of going short, the market should go up. Because generally the weaker hands are the hands which are the retail public, etc. Right now, amidst this, yes, the reality is that we do see that 11,000 can act as a strong resistance. Now, when the price will go here in the short term, you're not very far from that. When the price goes here in the short term in Nifty futures, you will see that it is going there and it is doing something. What it is doing at that point is going to determine if it has taken a resistance or it has surpassed the resistance. Now, my personal assumption is that since we are in an overall uptrend, we should not look for spaces which are negative, okay, which are bearish. We should look for trends, we should look for move which are along with the trends. So that is number one assumption. So the trend can sustain, and this short-term move can surpass these areas. For that, we need accumulation and we need structure. So we do see some sort of accumulation and structure happening again at a support zone. And I am personally looking at the market from that perspective. Even in the Bank Nifty, just before the session started, I was looking at how these things happen. Again, you see, earlier the price has broken out from a 15-minute patch of moves. Earlier the price has broken out. Now the price is trying to come here and trying to break these areas, but no, these resistance areas, which were earlier resistance areas, are now support areas, and the price ends up taking a support here. Not just ending a support here, it is going above this, which is a bullish essence right here, right now, as we are talking. Right now, it is 27,275, which is a bullish essence. Okay, so this accumulation is showing me a price structure. Now, why I'm so hell-bent on price structure is because that is what really gets the correct kind of trading, and that's what makes the real money in the market. Okay, people will come and tell all about this indicator and this moving average and all. No, you have to focus on the price structure and you have to be able to read it well. So you take multiple time frames, you take price structure, and you wait for the price to close above areas of the price structure that are very, very significant. And if you are able to do that, like for example, over here, there's a resistance point, there's a resistance point, and this has been able to close above very significantly above this area. And that too with a lot of participation. What is the meaning of volumes? It is the meaning is that there's a lot of participation. So the market has transitioned from a accumulation phase to a participation phase. And we see a very short-term distribution phase over here. Okay, we have to acknowledge that that is there. But from the accumulation phase to the participation phase. So what is it? Okay, the first chapter or probably the second chapter. First, I did something else, and then we go to Dow theory. And we don't spend a lot of time on Dow theory. We try to take the trading perspective. But the very important thing over here, one of the six tenets of Dow theory says that market has three phases. It has accumulation, it has participation or absorption, and has distribution. So we need to focus the price structure from that phase and phase point of view. Okay, that is how you try to line up the observations which you have seen and try to make it a very interesting thing for you. So CESC is something I was looking at today, and yes, it's a very good chart. I like the chart from the bullish perspective, and definitely it's worth riding the trend on it. So just trying to give you a much clearer perspective of this range which was come about. So you see this green line which I'm talking about. Now, when the price is moving around this green line, okay, by the way, just to take a little bit of note, I'm pushing all the hands down right now. Those who are understanding each and every bit of what I'm saying, please raise your hand so I know you're following me. Please raise your hands if you're following me completely, right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. So this interaction is important. I'll take up questions regarding stocks, etc. Recently, we have shared so much on Telegram with so many trading ideas, and the whole point is to give you the educational perspective. Sometimes people ask me, "Sir, why don't you give calls on intraday, etc." So I say no. The whole point is, I don't give any paid calls. There's always only training which I focus on and my own trading which I focus on. The whole point is to give you the best. Now, if I give the best of this, it is automatically worth all kinds of other kind of things. But the whole point is to give you educational perspective. The same thing which I show on the daily charts, and it's not just me, it's my team also who work hard and are guided and trained by me. The whole perspective is that when I approve a chart or when I make a chart and I post it, the whole perspective is one thing. You get to understand one thing very clearly, that if you have to make money in the markets, you must learn things by yourself. Okay, it is where the learning is, that is where the correct kind of earning is. You can be relying on thousands of things, you can follow another 20 Telegram channels, that's completely your wish. But to be able to sustain a model and to really make the life which you want to relish, and believe me, making the life you really want to relish, money is a byproduct of relishing a good life. It is never something which you have to run behind. And I want you to relish each and every, have fun doing the analysis, have fun in the learning process, wait for the markets and be eager for the better moves to come and taking those trades. Money will always be the byproduct of doing things very, very passionately. It is not about just going out there and taking some trades in order to make money. then it really comes in the end. And if you can enjoy worth $1 million even in your starting stages, you will eventually become a multimillionaire and billionaire and everything that you want. So I hope you're getting the point. Let's cut open CSC and see how the chart is behaving and what are the interesting factors. So one rule of trading is to follow the trend and let the trend help you ride with your profits. Okay, on the weekly chart I have been noticing a very long term uptrend on CSC. Okay, and to my understanding, these zones which have been a very previous long term high, okay, even on the monthly chart, even on the weekly chart, this is the weekly chart, this is the monthly chart. Okay, so I'm just drawing this line on the weekly chart, and you will understand what I'm trying to say, that these are the zones where there has been a previous high. Now, I personally understand a lot of people say it's a higher high ho gaya, breakout ho gaya. No, every higher high is not a breakout. Over here, I see that on the weekly chart, there has been a zone which has not just been a previous high, which is a natural resistance. It has been under a zone which is a even before resistance. This is point number one. This is point number two. And the third time it hit the point, it has really gone even higher. Okay, so some price structure over here is present, which is significant. Now let me zoom into this area and see that when the price has recently fallen and come to this area, it has done something very interesting. It has done something very interesting, and that's what we're going to now cut open to, looking at the daily charts, what it has done when it has come to these areas. So there has been a few legs of movement here and there, which have shown accumulation every time that move has happened. So there has been a short-term accumulation before the moves over here. And when I look at the chart from a little broader perspective, I see that these points where earlier there was a resistance has hovered about 740 region. But then price has been hitting a lower end of the range, and somewhere between 718 and 670 there has been a patch of movement which is going on and on and on and on, right? A series of higher highs which have been made on a subtle level. Okay, so it's just like now evidences are turning to the bullish direction. That evidence of beautifully turning to the bullish direction, and here you see a very strong move coming out of these patches, and we have higher than average volumes also over here. So this is something which I personally feel is extremely bullish at the moment from a short-term point of view. So if somebody is a when I trade, I obviously trade with all stop losses. Ideally every stop loss is where the move has begun, and ideally one should take up the trades after such confirmations that yes, it is gone and sustained above 718 zone. It has broken one range today morning and opened the second range also. All these evidences put together are trying to clearly tell me that this is a trend, and this is a momentum, and this is something I can rely on. Okay, one of the common mistakes a lot of people make is that they don't understand that just because a candle is green, they sort of jump into it. Just because something is moving, they think that they're doing something technically. No, you can do things technically when you rely on things. Number one, okay, I will try to tell you in a three basic rules, and I want you all to make notes. Just a raise of hands for how many people over here are sitting with a pen and paper. I'm really talking from a learning perspective. I don't care if you make a money in one trade or tomorrow or this or that. I want you to be growing for the long term, right? So three things I will tell you, and these are the very basic things which people miss out, and very basic things about trading which you need to understand. Number one, you will not be absolutely 100% correct on every trade. You have to be correct and be net profiting over a series of trades. So if you take a period of time or you take a series of trade across a few transitions or market phases, you should be net profitable. That is your goal. So it is never about one single trade, it is about a series of trades. Thinking in these ways keeps your head in the game. Are you getting my point? And secondly, it helps you understand that you do not have to take a risk, obnoxious risk on just one trade. You have to measure the risk you're taking. And even if something doesn't work out, you can always take another trade. If your system is good, if your method of doing is good, you can definitely make money over a series of trades very easily. If you're doing the hard work of learning, doing the hard work of setting up yourself with a correct kind of method, right? Point number two, which I want you to note, is that a trader, and this is very important, literally have to quote it from Mr. Mark Douglas, Sir late Mark Douglas, who has been a wonderful teacher to me. Okay, his book on trading psychology, Trading in the Zone, it says one line which totally resonates with me. A trader has to be. This was it went like this. He has to be a trader needs to be rigid in his rules and flexible in his expectations. So you be rigid in your rules and flexible in your expectations. So when you take an entry, you be 100% rigid with whatever you're doing. And why you would take an entry? You need those confirmations, you need those price structures, you need that clarity. Only then you will take that entry. That is number one. And number two is that you be flexible with your expectations. Let's see why we need to be flexible with our expectations. Say, for example, and this happened with me just 2 days back. So I went long on Bank Nifty over here, right? And I exited the trade yesterday morning. And I was completely fine with the profits that I booked. One of the key things which I tell all students to do is to make an exit strategy as importantly as they make the entry strategy. Okay, exit strategy is as important because a lot of people sort of take that out of the equation and they don't focus on the exit strategy. So that is very important. Over here, one of the key expectations which I need to control is that obviously after a breakout, the market can trend one-sided, 300 points, 500 points, 1000 points, it can be anything. But if I have to take a trade which is a short term, very short term intraday BTST position, whatever you can call it, is a very short term trade which I went in and went out in a matter of less than 3 market hours. And it makes substantial amount of money to me. That has to come from a point of view that I don't sit and want to expect to move it 1000 points. So be rigid in your rules, but be flexible in your expectations, right? That is one point which I want you all to note. Right. Now, recently we have, I'll just pull up some stocks which we have spoken about in the Telegram channel. Okay. So SBI again, a lot of people also messaged me that they have made money on these trading ideas. So one resistance was there on the daily chart, and one resistance is there on the hourly chart. So on the daily chart, this resistance area which was there. Now looking at the hourly chart, I just want you all to see how it has moved. Okay, let's look at this. There was a price structure which was building up, building up, building up for 4 to 5 days, which took some time, and this was a other set of accumulation. Now, accumulation doesn't have to just happen on the bottom. What is happening is in this interaction between buyers and sellers, the stronger hands are getting on the bullish direction. The stronger hands are getting on the bullish direction, and they're collecting a lot of people who are doubting the trend, their short positions, right? And at once there is a bombastic move above these levels. So this is SBI and how we did the analysis on SBI. Then we come to stocks like BEML and CET. BEML I discussed last time also, and since it has moved significantly today, okay, uh, I'll just bring that up again. We saw that there was a double bottom over here and a cup and handle pattern over here. Okay. Now, I know it seems very easy when I show it, and a lot of people have this problem with these videos when they message me, sir, it's very nice, but it seems so easy when you show it. Believe me, that is what it has taken me years to make it look so easy. Yes, it requires practice. Yes, it requires a structured learning. I've learned from the Chartered Market Technician course. I've done 2 levels of Chartered Financial Analyst. And after so much financial education from the best in the world, also, I've literally again and again and again learned from extensively studying books, going to mentors and teachers and senior traders and whatnot, asking the right questions, etc., etc. That is how now I can make it look easy. Getting the point? That is how it is done. Okay. uh, so just to butt in a little bit, there is a 15 session course which I teach. It's a 15 weekend session course, and we are beginning a batch towards the later half of January. So if anybody is interested, you can contact my team, and they will take care of everything. And if you want to talk to me, you can personally call me up after 4 o'clock on any day, right? So in the next few days, I'll be taking up some calls. So we see that there has been a lull sideways movement till now during the markets, right? Let's take up CET in between. Yeah. So be it CET and JK Tire, we saw a lot of tire companies which were doing well. Now over here, when the market has strongly fallen, it takes time correction, and because of time correction, the market does not easily go up at a resistance zone. So this resistance zone, the price is coming. Just imagine that there's a very strong, very strong force with which the price is coming. And there is a very strong force which stands earlier over here, and that is trying to stop the price from coming. But there's so much force that the price is going to come, but it will not go too down. It will wait and come back a little bit, come back to fight again, come down a little bit, come back to fight again. And in this process, the price is actually doing what? It is gathering the steam to go up. It is gathering the steam to go up. So when it has gathered the steam to go up, it is finally once giving me a signal that now I'm going up. Now enough steam gathered. Now I'm breaking out of these resistance areas. This is how it happened. Mr. Athav is asking which platform is this? This platform is called the Spider software. Okay. If you join the course, all my students get a free trial of the software also. And if you, it's an expensive software because it's a very professional thing. Very good to get an experience of it. And if you of course want to, subscribe for those software also, we can help you out. If you don't want to use a software like this, then obviously you can use charting and investing, and there are, multiple free web browsers which actually show this. Thank you, Mr. Adhar. Yeah, so that's that. So again, a similar principle happening with Siemens. Now we see something similar happening with Siemens over here. And now again, a trend is significant, a trend which buzzed yesterday, and I did, even though I did not really mention it later, but it did hit the first and around the second target also, all the way up till 1040, right? So it went across and made 1045 high, and I had posted about this trading idea. I think it was below 10, it was around 1007 or 1008 that time. So again, we see that over here, the structure is the wave formations of the structure, which you will get to know if you go into deep learning. What I mean to say, the wave formations of the structure was a little different, but the essence and the quality of the move was still the same. So here you don't see a very linear move which out of which it is breaking out. It is a non-linear move. But the essence is protected in the sense that as it is moving up, there is a presence of structure. And if I have to get back to you in simple words, just look at this range of price movement. And what did I say? There is a breakout which is happening on this hourly section. At the same time, there's a breakout which is happening at this section, this patch of accumulation you see. So the price tries to gather steam, tries to hug this area of resistance, and then move beyond this, right? Okay, Mr. Anil G is asking about what is the breakout, then you have shown resistance. Okay. Mr. Rankaranjan is asking that you should, how do you spot things like head and shoulder and which time frame and double bottom? Okay, I'll come to those questions. So what I'm trying to say is that this line of movement, okay, look at this very carefully. Look at how earlier the price has interacted heavily over here. So when are the heavy interactions in price, like when the price has fallen suddenly, or when there's a lot of buying and selling happening and there's a sideways patch of movement, okay? This is primarily even the first thing which I see, how to spot areas, how to spot areas. There's a whole method behind spotting the correct areas. This is the first chapter I teach. So once you are able to spot the correct areas and the price reacts accordingly. So in here, what is the accordance reaction? First is this, that when the price has come, it has memory, it goes back down. Earlier, we saw that as it is going, there is an established support zone also. So how do we see the establishment of support zones happening? That is also something which you need to identify. For that, you will require some practice and some learning. So over here, we see that twice the price is coming and it is taking a strong seat over there. When the price is coming and going back strongly from it, we get more convinced that, and until it comes here, we need to wait and see if it's going to be in range form. So it is very imperative for you to understand that prices can be uptrending, they can be downtrending, and they can be sideways trending. Even sideways is a trend. You have to take that note as a trader. Okay. Now, if we look at this, okay, if we look at this, that the breakout has happened over here where it has successfully taken out all these levels. There is a strong trend which has emerged. Now, this entire scenario is from a breakout point of view. Perfect. Now, look at it from a wave point of view. The wave point of view, this place has the move which has started, and this is a short term, one leg has ended. Now, if it comes back to this area and it does something over here and takes support over here and goes back up, this could create more highs, which it is very likely to do simply because if we look at the daily chart, on the daily chart also these are significant areas to consider. Okay, significant areas to consider. So that is how we approach the trend once it is in effect. Now, a lot of people ask me, sir, how many stocks do I track and how do you judge which sector to go in? One of the important thing is that yes, market movements will play an important role. So say for example, we're looking at Nifty. Okay. The Nifty market movement and the tone of the day yesterday was extremely bullish. So a lot of stocks are participating from the bullish point of view. Today it is a little more corrective and sideways. So right now a lot of stocks will also and hand in hand go in that manner. So that is nothing special. That is just a part of price mechanism. And if you have to have days which are going to be strongly trending, you will have to have market phases and patches which are going to be sideways and lull periods. Okay. So that is something which I want you all to note down. Okay, so I have a few questions over here, people who have asked. One of the things is that to start with the first questions, Mr. Joseph, yes, you're right on CSC. I've already explained the chart. Okay, Sarita ji, we're talking about VEDL now, right? So VEDL was something somebody picked up in the last live session. I don't know if it was the same person, but Saidaji, here you go for VDL. And I was talking about these areas, if you remember correctly, uh, that there has been a trend line breakout. Okay. At the same time, yes, as you are saying on the hourly chart, if I put, these are strong support areas. Now, for something which is an overall weekly downtrend, I mentioned this point very clearly last time. So overall weekly time trend. So the resumption of a downtrend can always happen if we are looking at the bigger picture. And if we are looking at the smaller picture, and if we consider how the trend line has broken, we can consider that it can come back and take a trend line throwback. Now, what is exactly a trend line? What are the rules with which I make trend lines, etc.? For that, you need to join the course and you need to really understand in a structured manner. All the 15 sessions of the course, and yes, recordings are available since somebody was asking. All the 15 sessions of the course are structured in a way where you learn step by step and you get a lot of time to learn. So I'm going to take up two stocks because a lot of messages are coming, and then I'm going to keep it sweet and short. Okay, I'm going to take up Walk Pharma and I'm going to take up Mr. Manbi Mr. Manbi, you can talk to my team. You can send my number. My team will suggest you how to go about it. Not a problem. It will be including Hindi if you want. We will you just message, not a problem. Your number, we'll get back to you. 15 sessions are enough for all to learn. Well, 15 sessions is the course. If you ask me, I can sit with you for 1 year and I can teach you every week for 2 sessions and all, instead of keeping it 15. But keeping in mind the general schedule of people, even a full-fledged session like this, it's enough for you to sit and trade and get a hang of clear trading. Yes, I can explain in Hindi also, Mr. Man. You can definitely get back to this thing. Most of the things are in English, but sometimes we are trying to, compile a lot of people together, and maybe we can have a Hindi match if you want purely Hindi. So wait for that, but you get back to my team for that. Not a problem. So I'm going to take up a walk pharma. I'm going to take up emphasis. I'm going to take up नो इनका एक हो गया इनका एक हो गया चलिए ठीक है let's take up some stocks let's start with Wockhardt. Okay, so Wockhardt pharmaceutical, Wockhardt pharmacy and hospitals and healthcare sector. Okay, one of the key things which we must understand, just from an intermarket relationship point of view, that when we see bullish movements in sectors which are cyclical, like for example Maruti, the other day looking at Maruti, okay, there's a down uptrend which is there, quite nice and handsome uptrend, right? When we see significant things happen on the cyclical stocks, or like for example Hero Motor, okay, these are the stocks which, according to the larger point of view, when money is coming in, and this is technical in nature because we're talking about the physical money coming in and buying is happening in these sectors. The defensive sectors turn out to be slightly bearish sometimes, okay, when this is bullish. So that is where the money perhaps is going out. So we have seen a very good downtrend as we in pharma, as we have seen a very good uptrend in the last 2 3 years. Okay. So this is one of the stocks which we are seeing a downtrend, and this is sustaining. So we need to be a little nimble about before we think bullish on it. But yes, we saw a short-term breakout happening over here. So these are significant areas. Okay. Now, is this a move which can continue, or is this an ending move? Excuse me, that is a question. Because if the overall downtrend will hold, this could term not a move that you can say that it will extend. ठीक है, विमल जी जरूर मैं हिंदी में बोल सकता हूँ अभी, नो प्रॉब्लम. मानना ये है हमारा कि यहाँ पर एक शॉर्ट टर्म ब्रेकआउट आया था, बट एट द सेम टाइम ये शॉर्ट टर्म ब्रेकआउट सस्टेन करेगा कि नहीं, ये हमें बड़े टाइम फ्रेम से देखना है. तो फॉर दैट वी विल सी द डेली टाइम फ्रेम, एंड द डेली टाइम फ्रेम देयर हैज बीन अ पैच ऑफ मूवमेंट ओवर हियर. तो ये थोड़ा एक रेजिस्टेंस जोन है, तो हम इस जोन के साथ ज्यादा खिलवाड़ नहीं करेंगे. वी विल नॉट प्ले अराउंड टू बुलिश हियर. सो अगर शॉर्ट टर्म में कुछ बुलिश देखना है, यू हैव टू वेट फॉर सम डेवलपमेंट्स ओवर हियर. And right now there is no view I'm having on this stock. I'm very neutral on this stock from a short term trader's perspective, right? uh, okay, we keep a track. So Nifty is not forming any kind of structural bullishness over here. There's more structural bearishness which is kicked in suddenly. Okay, even Bank Nifty is not closed above those areas. So we are holding on, waiting on for the market to show us new price data to infer something. Right now, I'm not inferring anything with the index in the short term. So let's just wait and watch. Next stock we'll take up is Yes Bank, somebody said. Yeah, so Yes Bank is very interesting in this juncture. Why I say is that because it has gone very deeply down. Okay, now once it has gone deeply down, on the long term point of view, when I'm studying Elliott also, right? So उसमें क्या है? We will see that there has been a very strong leg, two strong legs over here. So these could be very strong wave 3 endings, though the ending will happen by here. And later we have seen two more legs. So that could be a subdivided 4 and 5. So this stock demands some sort of a sideways correction, or it demands some sort of a pullback. Okay. So right now, as long as we can justify it with price structure, we need to wait for these things to happen. Okay, this is number one inference. Plus, the volatility has gone up so much that without the proper structure, it can be dangerous because it's a highly volatile stock. It is moving many percentages per day and all that. So we need to keep that in tab. So if there's a consolidation and then it breaks out above 193 region, then I would be bullish on yes bank. Then I would see that there is a pattern occurrence etc. हम वो देख सकते हैं, करेक्ट. तो उसके लिए हमें थोड़ा इंतजार करना पड़ेगा फॉर यस बैंक. एक लास्ट ले लेते हैं मनापुरम, फिर इन्फोसिस एक बार ले लेंगे. Somebody else messaging, 1 second. Okay, I'll take up some. There are so many stocks, 1 second. 1 second, guys. Just 1 second. Hmm. So taking up Manapuram now. Okay. I'm getting a Vimalji, kindly excuse me. I'm getting already so many stocks are there. No, I want to give justified time to talk about it, but I will take up your stock. Not a problem. So we look at Manapuram, and in the long term, or the weekly chart has shown us very deep correction recently. Now the same principle as I was talking about Nifty, one area of accumulation where has been a short-term accumulation, not a very broad accumulation. And because there's been a short-term accumulation, price needs more time. So the second leg of accumulation, this resistance area is now become a support area. And this second leg of accumulation is broken. So from a weekly point of view, we are seeing short-term pullback happening. And at the same time, we see that there has been a major fall from these areas. So I would not be too bullish on it at the moment. I need some more broader patterns and some more clarity from that perspective to happen. Now, if you're an investor, it's a different matter. But for a trader, I'm talking like this, like that. Okay. So for the short-term bullishness can be there, but we have to really see what it comes when it comes around 97 level, to 100 level, what it does in that area. We have to see that very crucially, if at all it comes. Okay, the short-term uptrend is there. The weekly pullback is structure is present. That's what I can say. Would I go and buy it? No, I wouldn't. No, I won't. That I can say very clearly. I want to be with the larger trend, right? Let's take Infosys after this, as was lined up. I spoke about Infosys in the previous live video. I said that the one short-term breakout we have seen, and I made, okay, we have seen this, and after that I hold no view, simply because another sector, okay, like IT, it can be dicey at times, and it doesn't mean that if mid caps are moving on IT, large caps have to move also. Okay, it has been a broader downtrend. We've seen some strong pullback. So after that, after this move, okay, after this move which happened, I don't have a particular view. I think we had shared this idea also. Currently, no particular view on Infosys. That would be the thing. Uh, okay, guys. So 1 second. So since it's a request from a different person, I'm trying to give everybody a chance, at least of their one stock which is a message. I'll take up Finalex cables, right? So Finalex cables, anything particular you want to ask? It's a long term, super long term uptrend which has happened. And if you're looking from, because anybody talking about this would look for an investor's perspective, uh, if you are convinced with the value, and investing rules are very different from trading rules, okay, then it's a different matter. You can go about it like that. But if it's the trading point of view, I don't really have anything to say except for the fact that it's in a downtrend. and many mid caps are. So that is my view, Mr. Sinendra. Okay, I'll take up MCX after this. So, if at all you're looking for something from Phenolics, then, and if it is not a fundamental point of view, wait for price data to show you perfect things, and then the price will be ready to budge. Okay, that is what I can say. MCX, I'm having the similar view on MCX. In fact, what is happened is that it has not shown any kind of structure in the short term. Yes, I know what you're saying, that it has come down to support zones, etc. Earlier there was a ascending triangle pattern, and I remember years back I was looking at it. This is back in 2014, I think. Yeah, 14. And again it has revisited this area. So it becomes very interesting to see the price come back in this zone. Okay. But what it does over here, does it make a structure which is amicable to the trading, is what is very necessary for us to judge what can happen. So that is one thing. Okay, so Titan I'll take up last. That would be the last stock for the day. I'm sorry, I think two or three people I'm not being able to accommodate in terms of what they're messaging. Uh, so I'll take your views up. I'll take your questions up regarding stocks next time. And I would be also very happy if anybody has any conceptual questions they can ask also. Okay. So this is a long-term chart of Titan. Personally, see, it is important for us to see how the market is going to behave with the correct concoction. Right now, again, on this talk, there is no solid view. There is just a view that, okay, fine, it has been an uptrend in the short term and has come to resistance zones. Okay, there's no solid view to take a trade in terms of the price structure which it is showing. So what I would suggest is let it unfold a little bit and then we can get back on it. And I did have ideas while it was coming up. There were amazing ideas for trading as it was coming up. But right now, better to stay away if you're not understanding anything. That's how trading is done, right? So guys, okay, one last question I'm taking. What are you using? What MA are you using on RSI? Okay, I'm not using anything in particular, Anilji. I track RSI in a very different way. In fact, in our course, we have a two full sessions just on RSI, and I do it in a very detailed manner. So, ignoring this red part, which is a default, it is not set by me. It is a default for the time being. It doesn't hinder me. So, I'm not using it particularly. That is what I would say. But there are very different ways in which I don't go in how generally people you will see go in RSI. Go in a very different way. And so we have 3 to 4 concepts that we kind of align with when it comes to RSI. So guys, again for the last time, if anybody is interested in the January batch, you can just thank you so much, Mr. Athar. That's very kind of you. Very kind words. Uh, very kind words. So guys, anybody who is interested in a learning, my team will get back to you. You can send your number over here, right? And you can go to my YouTube channel and you can see a lot of videos which will give you a learning perspective. I highly recommend you all do so. And I will just show you my YouTube channel right now. So when you go to the YouTube channel, you go to the, okay, you go to the video section on the YouTube channel. Okay. So you go to the video section on the YouTube channel. You can see a lot of videos regarding the live markets, etc. You'll see weekly videos. You will also see videos where I have given free webinars. Okay, this is one of the students meet which we had. Okay, I would highly recommend you to go to this video and see, and most definitely make sure that, and also recommend videos like which we did over here, a webinar purely on technical trading, how to become a wealthy trader. This one you should see. Okay, this one. Make sure you see these webinars, learn from them, get a clear perspective of the learning. Okay, and in the end, as I will be over there, you can contact my team. This is the number in case you are interested in joining the course, right? So you can contact my team. So thank you so much, guys. It was wonderful having all of you, and I had a great time with this live session. It was really nice. Thank you so much, and God bless. Have fun, and thank you for those lovely thank you messages also. It's very kind of you to say. Okay, take care. Enjoy. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.